Welcome to my channel. Today we're going to talk about spirituality in business, but we're going to talk about why is it important to know thyself. Over the years, since 1994, I've been working with leaders and employees, and 99% of the time, when I ask them, they don't know themselves because we have not been programmed and taught to look at ourselves through a positive lens. If I ask you, make me a list of all what you think is holding you back and all your problems, they can write pages full. But when I ask, especially leadership teams, management, to make me a list of their strengths, their skills, and their achievements, they have to go back, think about it, and come back. And then we have to redo it until I get the information out of them. That's how sad it is. We do not know ourselves. And if we do not know ourselves, what is the platform that we deliver from? Then we deliver from what we think others want us to be and to become and to operate on and to speak about. And others want us to say this, but we are never authentically ourselves because we don't know ourselves. Now, the biggest gift any employee can give themselves is to be authentic, is to know themselves deeply, because then they understand their weaknesses and they also home in on their strengths. Now, this is not a weakness and strengths competition or a test like we've seen over the years taking over. People cannot actually conduct a proper conversation without testing people first and put them in a box. And then they believe according to the outcome. Now they understand who they are. That is so far off and so far wrong. And if that was ever accurate, why do we have the problems in businesses like we do? Because then every appointment should be 100% and every placement should be 100%. And it's very far from that. For 22 years in the past, I recruited and outsourced staff to major companies. And I've never used a system to test anyone. I interviewed and had a personal conversation with each and every applicant before they were allowed to go near my clients, so that I know who they are and I can guide them into their greatness before they even get to my client. And then I can tell my client who I'm sending, and it's not on paper, it's me. So eventually my clients trusted me so much that they didn't even take application forms anymore. If I said this will be the perfect fit, they believed me and they took the person without a CV. That's what you can achieve when you learn discernment and wisdom, speaking to many, many, many people, but you don't find that today. And that is also another reason why we don't find it, because the interviewers don't know how to interview. They don't know themselves. So what are the benefits of knowing yourself deeply in business? And this is not a philosophical idea. It's the foundation of wise leadership, healthy relationships, and sustainable performance. Making the right decision right from the beginning is when you know yourselves, and when an employee knows themselves deeply, they know their strengths. If you ask them to do something, they don't even think twice about it. They do it, and they do it well. But if they don't know their strengths and they don't understand their weaknesses, they are going to be in between. They're never going to give you the full strength, and they're going to give you half a weakness mixed with the strength, because they don't know themselves. They don't know their limitations, and therefore they seek support before stress becomes burnout. Limitations leads us into false beliefs that we are not good enough, that we can't, that we are over our top, and that we cannot cope. And all the can'ts and cannots that it gives you. And therefore we perform from that basis, so you never get the best. That is why know thyself is so important. When you know your limitation, I know my limitation. I'm not an accountant. I don't like figure work. I can read a balance sheet because I run a company for 20 years. I understand the balance sheet. I understand everything on it, but I don't want to do it. It's not my strength, but give me people and I can do with people that nobody else can do. And I can't even explain how I do it. I do it. It's a gift. And I love doing it. Doesn't feel like work. That is understanding your limitations. In business, it's even more important to understand everyone's limitation and people's strengths so that you can home on the strength that you're paying for. And you don't try and home in on their limitations and then you tell them they're bad performers, because that's just creating havoc in people's lives. Spirituality and knowing yourself means you can manage your emotions better. Instead of screaming, shouting, and getting emotional and taking everything personal, especially as a manager or a leader, now when you manage your emotions, you don't scream and shout. You take a step back before you answer, and you go and think about what is the consequences of my decision and my answer. So you become spiritually intelligent and emotionally intelligent, and you manage your emotions. So now you're not inflicting harm anymore on other people. The next one is communicate effectively. When you know yourself, you're not going to wither when somebody criticizes you. You're not just going to wither when you are asked to speak up. Your communication is going to change. It's going to be far more meaningful, positive, and your tone in your voice will be far more warm and friendly. But when we don't know ourselves, we actually act from our victimhood. We act from our pain, our resentment, our bitterness within our hearts, and we speak from those emotions. That's putting us in a loop and repeat cycles that we don't necessarily want to repeat in business. Communication is everything because emotional intelligence, spiritual intelligence leads to effective communication. So when you speak to somebody, you speak in such a way where you motivate them, you don't criticize them. So like I said to a client yesterday, instead of saying to a person, why are you late every Monday? You rather say, come in and speak to me. Tell me what is the problem every Monday because I want to help you. I want to assist you. And together you work on a solution, a plan to solve that problem. And that's just one example. But through that type of communication, you're not breaking somebody down. You don't demotivate them for a week. You don't cause more resentment in their hearts. And they're now going to try and not be late again. So we understand our own values and our purpose. When you know the kingdom from within, you know your purpose, you know your values, and you make your decisions from your values. So my values is honesty, transparency. If somebody asks me to do something that's not exactly aligned with my values, I will not do it. You can judge me, you can do what you want. I won't do it. I'm not prepared to actually go down that lane and feel uncomfortable within myself about a decision that I made to please somebody else. And that's what you want in business. You want people that's ethic. You want people that's honest and that makes decisions from very healthy values. Then spirituality helps you to adapt or to change. We know when you know yourself, you can handle anything. So if there's changes happening within the organization, it's not going to upset that person to the point where they can't perform anymore. In fact, they might embrace it and see it as a new chapter and do better than ever before. And also, knowing yourself, you will make better decisions that align with both personal integrity and organizational goals. So the company, from a holistic perspective, benefits all the way by leading their people to know themselves deeply and then home in on what they are the best at and their purpose. And that way, we help employees to also become better versions of themselves, to increase their frequency and their consciousness, which will in turn increase the frequency and consciousness of the quantum field of your business. It will uplift everybody. Your clients will receive the benefit of that, and your business will expand and multiply. I hope that you enjoyed this talk. As in Proverbs 4, verse 23, I want to remind you, it says, above all else, guard your heart, for everything you do flows from it. Our inner world shapes our outer performance. When an employee understands what's happening within them, they are better equipped to serve others with wisdom, clarity, and excellence. Please like and share my video. Far and wide. I'm Dr. Madeleine Gomes. I'm Dr. Metaphysical Science, ordained Reverend, mindset alchemist, pranic healer, human developer, and I work with companies. I develop their employees, and I'm an advisory to the leadership team. Until next time.